success comes from the beneficial management of change. I've said that on the podcast before, but we're going deep into it today because change is coming. It's happening to all of us every day, personally and in business. How you manage that change to create successful outcomes is the key. Check it out. It's Saturday. I'm in the office. You know what that means, the Saturday Morning Hustle Podcast. No hyperbolic hustle culture, just brutally honest, straightforward business advice and motivation every Saturday for entrepreneurs, business owners, or anyone pursuing success. You can't just work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and hope to become the next big thing. You gotta work smart, work hard, put in extra effort while everyone else is sleeping, playing games, or wasting time. Maximize bonus time to get more work done. This podcast is for anyone willing to come in early, stay late, hustle on the weekend to be truly great. Change and the successful management of change is a common theme here on the Saturday Morning Hustle Podcast. You guys have heard me talk about it before. I'm bringing it up again specifically because change is coming in my professional life, which means change is coming to this podcast, which means you're going to have to deal with change right along with me. So there's no better reason to revisit this idea today. Change happens all the time. Every day you wake up, you're a little bit older. Your body goes through a change every day. Your business goes through change. Your career goes through changes. Even when you're doing routine actions, when you're doing something that feels like I do this every day, I do this all the time. Every time you do something, every time you wake up, every time you go to work, every time you start and end a project, every time you speak to someone, every time you interact with your coworkers, with your clients, etc., with your friends, with your family, everything has the potential, even if it feels as routine as possible, it still has the potential to be a new and different experience. That variable is change. You can change your approach. The things that you did in the past that you weren't as excited about the outcomes, you can change some of the variables a little bit or a lot. It can be minor or it can be major, and have a different outcome the second, the third, the fifth, the ninth, the 14th time you do something. The things that are working for you, you want to change as little as possible so that they continue to work for you. But just because something's working doesn't mean that's the apex. So you do want to make some small changes. You want to experiment with change. You want to see what happens when you introduce change to things that are already being successful. Will they be more successful, less successful, or the same? Obviously, less successful. We don't want to adopt that change. We will go back to the way we were doing it. If it's the same or more successful, we will adopt that change. We'll incorporate that into how we move forward and then look for new ways to change the next time and the time after that. That's how you successfully manage change. That's how you beneficially manage change. It's how you make changes, you adapt, you adopt, you adjust in ways that are beneficial to you, and that ultimately is leading you to the path of success. Now, the opposite, of course, is when things happen around you that change, things out of your control, things in your control, things in your industry, things that happens with your boss, your customer, your employees, whatever is happening in the world. World War III, the economy, bad weather, an employee quitting or leaving their job, a customer that gets angry about something, a delivery that doesn't happen. Any of these things are variables that are introduced or change that we then have to react to. Now, we can react well, move with the changes, at least negate the negativity, maybe even make it a benefit to you. It's okay to have errors, to come up short, to have unexpected outcomes. How we react to it, what you do in order to make up for that change that was less than exciting, is part of the whole process. So if you have something that the outcome is poor, you can react by ignoring it or refusing to do it again or blaming other people or the variables or things out of your control. Or you can take control of the process. You can embrace the fact it didn't work out. You can display a positive attitude and you can make the changes and then communicate the changes that would allow you to not have a negative outcome the next time. So if someone is doing business with you and it doesn't turn out as they expect, they're unhappy or at least not up to what your expectation was, You can make changes so that you can meet those expectations in the future, but you have to communicate those changes. And often the idea, the attitude, your willingness to change or at least acknowledge that you fell short in a situation can actually defeat the negative action that happened that forced you to change. So we're all going to do well in things and we're all going to struggle in things. We're not always going to hit the mark. No one is perfect. We know that. People aren't, businesses aren't, entities aren't, organizations aren't. So when you come up short, how do you react to it? What will you change in the future in order to not come up short again? At least come closer or meet the target or exceed the target. What change is necessary? How will you communicate that to the people involved, internally, externally, the people affected, etc.? How will you learn from what's happened in the past, positive and negative, and how will you incorporate change as you move forward? There's no such thing as we have this dialed in 100%, we'll never change it, we're going to move forward with this for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. Nothing has ever existed that's the same way for the last 100 years, or even 10 years, or probably even 10 days. Everything evolves, everything changes. So as much as people like to create consistency, as much as you like to establish norms and routines and build systems that work as expected as often as possible, there will be change necessary. There will be unexpected outcomes. There will be opportunities to grow and expand and do better. So the more you can embrace change, the more that you can utilize change, whether you decide to change or something else, some other factor has forced you into that change, or you're doing well and you want to do better. Whatever the situation is, the more you embrace the idea that change can be good, that challenges can help you get better, that setbacks and unexpected outcomes are ultimately beneficial to the big picture, losing the battle to win the war, etc., any kind of metaphor you want to put on it. The more that you can embrace that idea, the more that you can utilize this as a benefit to you, then you have the likelihood of being much more successful in the future. Embrace beneficial change. Beneficially manage change. If you know it's coming, if you're expecting it, if you understand it's going to happen, if you embrace it as a positive, as a potential to do better, if you make it a tool as opposed to something to be afraid of, something that is negative, something that you want to avoid at all costs, then you have the opportunity to create success even when the situation is negative or less than hoped for. So that's why it's so important to embrace change. Now, the reason I want to talk to you about change today on the Saturday Morning Hustle is change is coming. Change is coming to me, my personal life, my career, my routine, my Saturdays, my Monday through Friday, and how I go about doing this podcast. And in the profession, we call that a tease. And it is just a tease. I will explain fully next week what this change is. But I wanted to kind of prime you guys. I wanted to kind of not tease you so much as prepare you for the fact that next week there will be major changes to this podcast, to the Saturday Morning Hustle as a whole, to the concept, to the hashtag, to SaturdayMorningHustle.com. Everything is going to change. And I'm embracing it. I'm looking at it as a positive. I am finding ways to beneficially manage this change. And I hope you will as well. I hope you will find it as an opportunity to learn or ride along with me, to use it as an example in your life, and to apply this to any pursuit of success that you are following. So whatever it is you're trying to do, whatever your Saturday morning hustle is, whatever your extra, your bonus, your rise and grind, whatever it is, I want you to work smart, work hard, even on the weekend, and embrace change as a positive potential for success. So make sure you come back next week to understand, to learn, to embrace the change that's coming to the Saturday Morning Hustle. See you then. Thanks for listening. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. Leave a comment, leave a review, share with a friend. Really appreciate that. Follow and engage on social media, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and the Saturday Morning Hustle Facebook fan page. all the information, all the past episodes, all the Saturday Morning Hustle, Entrepreneur AF, and Coffee and Donuts swag is at SaturdayMorningHustle.com.